Tom always loved the quiet. His land was far from the busy roads, tucked between tall trees and wide fields. At the center of it all was a lake, clear and calm, like a piece of glass resting under the sky. The water reflected everything around it, from the birds flying above to the pines standing guard at its edges. Most people in the nearby town never saw the lake. The path was hidden, and the land was private. Tom liked it that way. He worked hard to keep it natural. He never built large docks or noisy machines. Instead, he kept it simple, with a few wooden benches and a small cabin near the shore. That summer, Tom decided to invite his old friends for a weekend. His friend Ben arrived first. Bringing his family, they set up a fire pit near the water and laughed while their children ran around the trees. Later, his other friends came with food, fishing gear, and small boats. Soon the lake was alive with laughter, voices, and splashes. The place felt like a hidden paradise. Birds called from the trees, fish rippled the surface, and the children shouted in joy as they played. Tom sat back on a chair, smiling. He liked seeing his friends enjoy the place as much as he did. But peace rarely lasted long. Mara, a woman who lived in the nearby community, had heard of the gathering. She was known for watching everything that happened around her. People often joked that she thought she ruled the entire town. She worked with the local homeowners association, or HOA, and liked to enforce rules even when they did not apply. When Mara walked down the path to Tom's lake, she did not look happy. Her steps were fast, her face was tight, and her eyes scanned the group like she was hunting for mistakes. Tom saw her coming and sighed. He knew Mara well enough to guess she was not here to enjoy the day. "What is going on here?" she demanded, stopping near the fire pit. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the laughter. Everyone turned to look at her. The children went quiet. Tom stood, calm and polite. "It is my land, Mara. I invited my friends to enjoy the lake." Mara folded her arms. "This lake belongs to the community. You cannot just let anyone come here without HOA approval. You are breaking the rules." Ben frowned. "We are just visiting our friend. This is his place, right? He owns it, yes?" Tom said firmly, "The land and the lake are mine. The HOA has no authority here." Mara's face turned red. She was not used to people standing up to her. "You think you can ignore the community rules. You think you can let strangers crowd a shared lake. That is not allowed." Tom's voice stayed calm. "This lake is not shared. The property line surrounds it. It has always been private. If you look at the town maps, you will see that." Mara looked shocked. For a moment, she seemed unsure, but pride pushed her forward. "We will see about that. I will check with the HOA and bring proof. This is not over." She spun around and stormed off, her footsteps loud against the path. The group slowly relaxed. The children whispered, then started laughing again. Ben shook his head. "That woman always has to control everything. She could not even enjoy the view." Tom smiled faintly, though he felt a weight in his chest. He knew Mara well. She would not let this go. She would dig, argue, and fight until she found something to use against him. But he also knew one thing for certain. The land was his. The lake was his. No HOA, no matter how loud, could take it away. As the evening came, the sky turned gold, and the lake reflected the colors like a painting. Tom's guests gathered around the fire, cooking food and sharing stories. The air smelled of pine and smoke, and the laughter grew louder again. For a while, the memory of Mara faded. All that mattered was the beauty of the place and the bond of friendship. Tom looked across the water, calm once more. But deep inside he felt the day had opened a new chapter. He could not explain why. But the lake seemed almost alive, as if it was watching, waiting. Mara thought the fight was about rules and ownership. Tom was about to learn it was much more than that. The weekend ended with laughter and smiles. Tom's friends packed their things and promised to return soon. The lake was calm again, rippling under the morning sun. Tom stood by the shore, breathing in the fresh air, grateful for the peace Len always gave him. But the peace would not last. Mara had gone back to town after her angry visit. She spent the night thinking, pacing in her kitchen, and calling other members of the homeowners association. She told them Tom was breaking rules, that he was letting outsiders ruin what should belong to everyone. She spoke with so much confidence that a few people believed her without checking the facts. By Monday morning, whispers had spread through the small community. At the local store, neighbors spoke in low voices. Some said Tom was ignoring laws. Others claimed he was planning to turn his lake into a resort for strangers. The rumors grew larger with every telling. Tom did not know at first. He spent his mornings repairing his cabin roof and tending the path that led to the lake. But Ben visited a few days later with news. People in town are talking. Ben said as they sat by the water, "Mara is saying the HOA owns part of this lake. She tells them you want to profit from it." Some believe her. Tom frowned but stayed calm. "That is not true. The land has been in my family for years. The lake is private. I am not selling anything." "I know," Ben said, "but you know how people are. They listen to the loudest voice." Tom nodded. He was not the type to chase gossip. He trusted that the truth would hold. Still, he could not ignore the uneasy feeling inside him. That night, as he walked by the water, he noticed something strange. The moon was bright, and the surface of the lake shone silver. But beyond the normal ripples of fish, he saw faint lines of light moving under the water. They looked like streams of stars flowing across the dark depths. He stood still, staring. The lights twisted and curved like shapes dancing far below. Then they vanished, leaving the lake calm once more. Tom rubbed his eyes. Just reflections, he whispered to himself, though he was not sure. The next evening, it happened again. This time Ben was with him. They had been fishing quietly when the same glow spread under the surface. Ben leaned forward, his eyes wide. "That is not reflection," Ben said. "Something is down there." The light swirled like a slow spiral, then faded once more. The water returned to silence. As if nothing had happened, Tom set down his fishing rod. Strange things happen in lakes sometimes. Gas, minerals, maybe fish schools. There is an explanation. Ben looked doubtful. Maybe. But it feels different, like it is alive. Tom had no answer. He did not want to admit it, but he felt the same way. The lights carried a rhythm, a pattern, almost like a heartbeat. Mara, however, soon heard about the lights. Someone walking near the edge of Tom's property had caught a glimpse and told her, "Tomorrow." This was proof that Tom was hiding something. She told the HOA he had installed hidden machines in the water. She warned that he was destroying nature and breaking rules. The rumors grew louder. Now people spoke not only of illegal guests, but also of dangerous devices. A few even suggested calling officials to investigate. Tom kept calm, but inside he felt pressure building. The lake had always been simple, quiet, safe. Now it was turning into a point of conflict. His land, once hidden, was becoming the center of town gossip. Late one evening, Tom walked alone by the shore again. The air was cool, the trees dark against the fading sky. He listened to the soft sound of water lapping at the rocks. Then he saw the glow again, brighter than before. The lights rose closer to the surface this time. They spread across the water like veins of fire. Tom's heart beat faster. He took a step back, unsure if he should stay or run. But then the glow sank back into the depths, leaving the lake still. Tom stood in silence for a long time. Something was stirring in his lake. Something he could not explain. He felt both fear and wonder. He also knew Mara would not stop until she had proof for her claims. If she ever saw what he had just seen, she would not stay silent. She would turn it into another weapon against him. Tom clenched his fists. The land was his. The lake was his. He would protect it, whatever secrets the water held. They would not belong to Mara or the HOA. Far across the town, Mara was already planning her next move. She was certain she had caught Tom in a lie, and she was determined to prove it. She would soon return to the lake, and when she did, nothing would stay hidden. The days passed quietly, yet Tom could not forget the strange lights under the water. Each evening, he walked down to the lake, half hoping to see them again, half afraid of what they might mean. Sometimes the water stayed dark and still, but sometimes faint ripples of light stirred just beneath the surface, like stars caught in the depths. Ben returned one weekend with his family. The children played along the shore while Tom and Ben sat near the fire pit. The two men talked about the lights. "I think you are guarding something special here," Ben said. "The lake feels alive. Those lights are not just fish or gas." Tom shook his head. "I do not know what they are, but I know this much. If Mara sees them, she will claim the place belongs to her and her rules. I cannot let that happen." Ben nodded. "Then we keep watch. We protect it." That night, the sky was clear and the moon full. The guests gathered around the fire, telling stories while smoke drifted into the air. Tom felt a calm settle over him. Yet deep inside, he sensed the lake was waiting for something. Then it happened. The water rippled though no wind blew. A glow spread outward from the center of the lake. Bright and steady, everyone turned to look. The children grew silent. Ben stood up, his eyes wide. The glow rose higher, forming a column of light from within the glow. A figure began to take shape. The water lifted, shining as it wrapped around the form. Slowly, step by step, a being emerged. It was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver under the moon. Its eyes glowed faintly, calm and deep, like to small pools of light. It moved across the surface as if the water held it firm. No one spoke. The group stared in awe, their breath caught. Finally, the being raised a hand, palm open, and spoke in a clear voice. "Do not fear. I am El." The words were soft, but they carried across the lake as if the air itself carried them. Tom's heart pounded, but he stepped forward. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" El tilted its head. "I am a traveler. My people rest in places such as this. For many years, this lake has been our refuge. We live beneath, unseen, in harmony with the water." Ben whispered, "Beneath the lake? You mean you have been here all along?" "Yes," El said gently. "We come when the world above grows loud and harsh. The waters heal us. The quiet sustains us. Few humans ever find us, but this land has always been marked by respect. That is why we remain." Tom tried to speak, but words caught in his throat. He felt both wonder and confusion. The lights he had seen, the strange glow, all of it made sense now. Something greater than he had ever imagined had been resting in his lake. The children huddled close to their parents, their eyes wide but not afraid. The being's voice was calm, almost soothing. Tom finally found his voice. "Why? Reveal yourself now. Why show us?" El looked at the group, then back at Tom. "Because the balance is threatened. One among your people speaks with anger, spreading words of control. Such voices have led to harm before. If we are forced away, the lake will wither, and its gift will fade." Tom knew at once who El meant, Mara. Before he could answer, a sharp sound broke the stillness. Branches cracked, and footsteps hurried across the path. From the shadows at the edge of the firelight, Mara stepped forward, her phone in her hand. "It's red light recording." "I knew it," she hissed. "I knew you were hiding something. You have been keeping this creature here. You are breaking every rule." The children gasped, and Ben stood protectively in front of them. Tom stepped forward too, his eyes fixed on Mara. "This is my land," Tom said firmly. "You have no right to be here, and no right to record." Mara ignored him. Her eyes locked on El. "The world needs to see this. Authorities will take it from you, and then we will see who is in charge." El tilted its head, confused. "Is this how humans greet strangers? With threats?" Tom's voice was steady but strong. "Not all humans, only some." Mara raised her phone higher, a grin spreading across her face. "You cannot stop me. This will change everything." But for the first time, El's calm eyes grew sharp. The waters behind it stirred, rising like a wall. With one graceful motion, El lifted a hand, and the water surged upward, blocking Mara's view. Her phone flickered and went dark, the recording lost. Mara gasped, stumbling back. El lowered its hand, the water sinking back into stillness. Its eyes glowed faintly again, calm once more. "Your pride blinds you. Respect is the only path. Without it, the waters will not protect you. Mara stood frozen, her face pale. She looked at Tom, then at Elle, and without another word, she turned and ran into the trees. The night fell quiet again. Only the sound of water lapping the shore remained. Tom stood in silence, staring at the being before him. Elle looked back, its expression unreadable yet gentle. "The choice is yours," Elle said softly. "Protect this place, or lose it. We'll wait." With that, the being turned and stepped back into the glowing water. The light slowly sank beneath the surface until only the moonlight remained. Tom's guest stood speechless. Finally, Ben whispered, "Tom, your lake holds more than I ever imagined." Tom nodded, his heart still racing. He knew the quiet days were gone. The lake's secret was no longer his alone, and the true test had only just begun. Mara did not sleep that night. Her mind raced with images of the glowing figure rising from the lake. She could still hear its calm voice and see the wall of water that had risen at its command. But instead of awe, she felt anger. To her, it was not a wonder, but proof that Tom had hidden something powerful, something that must not stay in his hands. By morning, she had told half the town. She spoke of a strange being, of lights under the water, and of Tom protecting it. Some laughed, thinking she had imagined it. Others believed her, for her voice carried the sharp edge of conviction. Mara insisted that officials must be told, that Tom's lake must be open to all for safety. Meanwhile, Tom and Ben sat by the lake with worried faces. The night before had changed everything. The lake was no longer just a private refuge. It was a doorway to something greater. Ben broke the silence. Mara will not stop. She will bring others. She will twist what she saw. We need to be ready. Tom nodded. "I will protect this place, but I think Elle can protect it better than we can." As if hearing his words, the lake stirred. Light rippled under the water, and Elle rose once more, stepping onto the surface with calm grace. The children, who had been playing nearby, froze in wonder. Elle's voice carried gently. "I feel unease among your people. One has already threatened our peace." Tom stepped forward. "Her name is Mara. She works with the Homeowners Association. She believes she has power over this land." Elle tilted its head. "Strange. Why would she claim power where it is not hers?" Ben gave a short laugh without humor. "That is what she does. She cannot stand when people live free of her rules." Before Elle could respond, a sharp voice cut through the air. "There it is." Mara appeared again, this time with 3 neighbors from the town. They carried phones and flashlights, their faces mixed with fear and determination. Mara pointed at Elle with a trembling hand. "See, I told you. Tom is hiding it. He is protecting something unnatural. This must be reported." The neighbors gasped, their phones rising to capture the sight. Elle stood tall on the water, its glow reflected in their eyes. Elle spoke calmly. "You trespass on ground that does not welcome you. Why do you come with anger?" One of the neighbors whispered, "It talks." His hand shook as he held his phone. Mara, however, stepped forward boldly. "You do not belong here. Whatever you are, you will answer to the authorities. And you, Tom, will face punishment for hiding it." Tom raised his voice, steady and strong. "This is my land, Mara. You and your friends have no right to step here. No right to command who stays or who leaves." Elle's eyes glowed brighter, but his tone stayed calm. "We have dwelled here in peace for many years. Tom has done no harm. Why do you seek to take what is not yours?" Mara's lips curled. "Because this is not just his secret anymore. Something like you belongs to the world, and I will be the one to reveal it." She raised her phone high, but as she did, the lake stirred again. Waves rippled outward, lifting into the air as though guided by unseen hands. Elle moved one arm. Slowly, and a wall of water rose before Mara and her neighbors, shimmering like glass. The neighbors stumbled back in fear, but Mara held her ground, her pride refusing to bend. "You think you can scare me with tricks? Water will not stop me." Elle's voice deepened, no longer soft but commanding. "This is not a trick. This is warning. We do not harm, but we defend. If you bring danger to this place, you will find no welcome. The neighbors looked at one another, fear plain on their faces. One lowered his phone and whispered, "Mara, maybe we should go. This is not our fight." But Mara refused. Her eyes burned with determination. "No, this is bigger." Then Tom. This being must be taken. Tom stepped between her and the lake, his voice steady. "Enough. This land is private. This lake is under my care. You will not decide its fate. Go back." "Mara, before you make things worse," for a moment, silence hung in the air. Only the soft sound of water shifting filled the space. Mara's face tightened, her pride and anger fighting against the fear she felt. At last, she lowered her phone, though her eyes still burned with resentment. "This is not over," she said coldly. "You cannot keep this hidden forever." She turned sharply, and the neighbors followed, some glancing back with uneasy faces. When they were gone, the wall of water fell back into the lake, and the surface grew calm once more. Tom turned to Elle. "I am sorry." "She will not stop." Elle shook its head slowly. "It is not your fault. We have seen many like her in our time. Some seek control, others seek fear. But there are also those who protect. You are one of those." Ben placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. "Then we protect together." The firelight flickered against their faces as the night deepened. The calm of the lake seemed fragile now, as though a storm was building. Tom knew Mara's pride would drive her back again, and next time, she might not come alone. The true fight for the lake had only just begun. The night after Mara's return felt heavy. Tom could not sleep. He walked outside, listening to the soft rustle of trees and the gentle lapping of water. The stars shone above, clear and bright, but his mind was restless. Mara's words echoed in his head. She would not stop. She would return, and each time she would bring more people. Ben found him sitting near the water. "You are thinking about her, aren't you?" Tom nodded. "She will come back." "I need to understand why this lake matters so much." Elle said. "It is more than just water. I have to know," as if the lake itself heard him. Light stirred beneath the surface. The glow spread wide, and once again Elle rose, calm and graceful. "You wish to know?" Elle said softly. Tom stood. "Yes, I cannot protect something I do not understand. If I am the guardian, tell me the truth." Elle's eyes glowed gently. "Then come." The water parted, glowing paths opening across the lake. Tom and Ben hesitated, but then stepped forward. The water held them like firm ground, carrying them toward the center. The children and families stayed behind at the fire, watching with wide eyes. As they reached the deepest point, the glow pulled them downward. They felt no fear, only a strange calm, as if the lake itself held them safe. Beneath the surface, the sight took their breath away. Structures of light stood tall under the water, like towers made of crystal. They pulsed with a soft glow, alive. With energy, schools of luminous shapes swam between them, moving like threads of living starlight. "This is our sanctuary," Elle explained. "Long before your people built towns and roads, we found these waters. They are one of few places on your world that heal us. We come here to rest, to survive." Ben whispered, "It is beautiful." Tom stared in awe. "And my family's land. It has always been part of this." "Yes," Elle said. "Your ancestors did not know our full nature, but they felt the power of the waters. They respected it. They did not poison it, nor did they sell it. Because of that, we remained. Your family has been guardians without even knowing." Tom felt a deep weight in his chest. His land was not just land. The lake was not just water. It was a lifeline for beings beyond his world. "Why now?" Tom asked. "Why reveal this to me?" Elle looked upward, toward the dark sky above the lake. "Because danger grows. When voices rise with greed and pride, balance breaks. If the waters are disturbed, the gift will fade, not only for us, but for you as well. This lake is more than sanctuary. It is a bridge. Its strength flows into your world too. If it dies, your land will weaken with it." Tom thought of Mara and her constant demands. He thought of the neighbors who followed her, phones raised, ready to capture and control. He clenched his fists. "Then I must protect it, no matter what." Ben nodded firmly beside him. "You are not alone in this." Elle studied them both. then placed a hand against the glowing structure. Light rippled outward, wrapping around Tom and Ben like a gentle wave. "You are chosen now," Elle said. "The waters will answer you. When you stand to protect, they will rise with you. But remember, violence brings only ruin. Respect is the shield." With those words, the glow began to fade. The water carried Tom and Ben back upward until they stood once more on the calm surface of the lake. Then the path closed, and Elle sank back into the depths. The two men walked to shore, their hearts heavy with what they had seen. The families gathered around, asking questions, but Tom could only say, "We must protect the lake. It is more important than we ever knew." That evening, as the fire burned low, shadows moved at the edge of the trees. Tom's eyes narrowed. He saw faint lanterns and heard whispers. Mara's voice rose among them, sharp and angry. "She cannot wait," Ben muttered. "She is already stirring trouble again." Tom stood tall, his jaw set. He knew now that this was not just a fight about land or rules. Mara believed she was defending order, but in truth she was driven by control. She would never understand the secret of the lake, nor the weight of being its guardian. The whispers faded back into the dark, but Tom knew it was only the beginning. Mara would return with more people, louder voices, stronger threats. He would have to stand firm, not only for himself but for the hidden life under the waters. The fire crackled, casting light over the faces of his friends. They trusted him, and now he carried the trust of something far older, something that had chosen his land as its refuge. Tom looked out across the lake. The surface was calm, but beneath it flowed secrets older than his family's history. The time for quiet was ending. The time to defend had come. The next few days felt tense. Tom worked quietly around his cabin, but his mind stayed on edge. He knew Mara was planning something. The whispers at night and the faint glow of lanterns beyond the trees proved she had not given up. She wanted control of the lake, and soon she would return with more than words. Ben stayed close, bringing supplies and helping Tom strengthen the path that led to the water. "She will not come alone next time," Ben warned. "She will bring more neighbors, maybe even call in officials. You need to be ready." Tom nodded. "I will stand firm. This land is mine, and the lake must be protected. But it is not just mine anymore. It is theirs too." He looked at the water, thinking of Elle and the glowing towers beneath the surface. On the third evening, just as the sun dipped below the trees, the sound of many footsteps echoed down the path. Dozens of figures appeared, carrying flashlights, phones, and banners with words like community rights and open access. At the front, of course, walked Mara. Her chin was high, and her eyes burned with determination. Tom stepped out to meet them, his voice calm but steady. "This is private land. You are trespassing. Leave now." Mara raised her hand, signaling the crowd to stop. "Not this time, Tom. The people have spoken. This lake belongs to everyone, not just you. We will not leave until you accept that." A murmur of agreement rose from the crowd. Some looked uncertain, but Mara's presence gave them courage. Ben moved to stand beside Tom. "You have no right," he said firmly. "The maps, the records, they all show this land is his. You are chasing lies." Mara ignored him. She pointed toward the lake. "There is something in that water, something unnatural. If you will not reveal it, then we will force it out." The crowd began to move closer, their flashlights dancing across the surface of the lake. Tom felt his heart pound, but he did not back away. He remembered Elle's words, "When you stand to protect, the waters will rise with you." He stepped forward, his voice louder this time. "You will not touch this lake." The crowd paused. Some lowered their lights, uneasy at his tone. Then the water stirred. A deep ripple rolled across the surface, spreading outward. Light rose from beneath, brighter than ever before. Gasps filled the air as Elle appeared, standing tall upon the waves. Its silver form glowed in the growing dark, its eyes calm yet powerful. The crowd fell silent. Mara, however, raised her phone once more. "There, look at it. Proof that this is no ordinary place. This being must be controlled before it brings danger." But before she could take a step closer, the water rose. A wall of shimmering waves lifted between the crowd and the lake, taller than a house. People stumbled back in fear, their flashlights shaking. Elle's voice echoed, deeper than before. You bring anger to a place of peace. If you disturb this water, you will harm not only us but yourselves. The lake is a gift, not a prize. The neighbors whispered nervously. Some lowered their phones. Others glanced at Mara with doubt in their eyes. Tom stepped forward, his voice clear. This land is mine. This lake is under my care. You may shout. You may spread lies, but you will not take it. Respect is the only rule here. The crowd shifted. Some began to back away, fear and shame softening their anger. But Mara refused to yield. She shouted above the noise, do not listen to them. This is power, and it must belong to all of us. Elle's eyes glowed brighter. Power without respect destroys. You must choose peace or ruin. The shimmering wall of water pulsed, and droplets of light fell like rain. The sight was so strange and beautiful that even the children in the crowd stared in awe. One of the neighbors lowered his banner and spoke quietly. Mara, we should leave. This is not ours. Another nodded. Tom is right. This land belongs to him and this being. It does not mean us harm. Mara turned on them, her voice sharp. Cowards, you are blind. You will regret this. But the crowd was no longer with her. One by one, people stepped back, their fear stronger than their loyalty to Mara's anger. Soon only a handful stood at her side, their faces uncertain. Mara's eyes blazed. But even she felt the weight of the moment. The wall of water loomed, steady and silent, waiting for her next move. Tom's voice cut through the night. Leave, Mara. This is over. At last, Mara lowered her phone. Her face was pale, but her pride held firm. This is not over, she whispered, though her words carried little strength. She turned sharply and marched away, the few who still followed her trailing behind. The crowd dispersed, leaving Tom, Ben, and the families alone with the glowing lake. Slowly, the wall of water sank back into the surface, and the ripples faded. To calm, Elle looked at Tom, its voice soft again. You stood firm, and the waters answered. But the storm is not fully gone. Be ready, for pride does not fade easily. Tom nodded, his chest heavy but steady. I will protect it, no matter what. The night grew quiet once more, but Tom knew the battle had changed everything. The community had seen the truth. Some now understood. Others would never forget. The lake was no longer just his secret. It was a bond between two worlds, and he was its guardian. The morning after the confrontation, the lake was calm again. Mist rolled across the surface as the sun rose, painting the water in gold. Tom sat on the wooden steps of his cabin, watching quietly. His heart still carried the weight of last night's events, but he also felt stronger. The neighbors had seen the truth with their own eyes. Ben came walking up the path carrying a basket of bread and fruit. They are talking in the town, he said as he set it down. Some are afraid, some are curious, but most are saying Mara went too far. People are beginning to see you are not the enemy. Tom nodded slowly. That may be, but Mara will not let go so easily. She will keep trying. Still, the others have seen with their own eyes that the lake is more than a place to swim or fish. It is alive. As if hearing him, the water rippled and Elle rose again, glowing faintly in the morning light. Its presence was calm, not threatening, but full of quiet strength. You did well, Elle said. You held firm without anger, and now the truth spreads. The lake has chosen a guardian, and the people must learn respect through you. Ben bowed his head slightly. It will take time. People fear what they do not understand. Tom stood, looking at the being on the water. I will teach them, if they wish to know. I will share the story of this place. I will not let Mara's voice be the only one they hear. That same day, a few neighbors returned, not with banners or threats, but with questions. Families stood nervously at the edge of the path, children holding their parents' hands. One of the men spoke first. Tom, we are sorry for yesterday. We did not know what we were walking into. We were afraid. But now, we would like to understand. Tom studied their faces. He saw no anger there, only curiosity and a touch of shame. He gave a small nod. Then come, sit by the water. I will tell you what I know. They gathered on the grass while Tom spoke. He told them about the day he first saw El, how the being had revealed itself when he chose to protect the lake. He explained that the glowing light was not danger but a gift, a reminder that the world held mysteries worth guarding. El surfaced again, standing tall but peaceful. Children gasped softly, their fear fading into wonder. El spoke gently, its voice carrying across the water like music. This lake belongs to no one and everyone. It thrives because it is cared for. It can give peace, but only if you respect it. The families listened quietly. Some nodded, some wiped their eyes, and some simply stared at the water in awe. The message was clear. That evening, as the families left, one of the women placed a hand on Tom's arm. "Thank you," she whispered. "We will not follow Mara anymore. We see now this place must be kept safe." Word spread slowly through the town. More neighbors began visiting, not with demands, but with respect. They brought small gifts for Tom: firewood, bread, or seeds. They offered help repairing the path and clearing brush around the lake. For the first time, Tom felt the community was beginning to understand. But Mara had not vanished. She stayed quiet for several weeks. Yet her anger smoldered. One afternoon she appeared again at the edge of the water. She came alone, without banners or crowds. Her eyes were tired but still sharp. Tom met her halfway, standing tall but calm. "Why are you here, Mara?" She looked at the lake, her jaw tight. "You have turned them against me. They whisper that I was wrong. They look at me as if I lost." "You chose anger," Tom replied softly. "You tried to control what was never yours. The lake cannot be claimed by force. You must let go." Mara's eyes flicked to the water, where a faint glow shimmered. For a moment, her face showed doubt. Then she turned sharply away. "One day you will see, Tom. One day you will regret siding with it." Without another word, she walked off into the trees. Tom sighed, knowing her pride still chained her heart. But he also knew she no longer had the strength to sway the others. The people had seen enough truth to decide for themselves. Weeks passed, and the lake grew more peaceful than ever. The families who once followed Mara now came with kindness. Children played along the shore under Tom's watchful eye. Adults brought quiet offerings of respect, leaving flowers or simple stones at the edge of the water. One night, as the stars shimmered overhead, Tom sat by the fire with Ben. El rose from the water once more, its silver form reflecting the starlight. "The storm has passed," El said gently. "The people are learning. You have shown them that strength is not in force, but in patience and care." Tom looked at the being and smiled faintly. "I only did what was right. The lake deserves peace, and so do you." El's light pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. "Then peace you shall have. You are no longer just the guardian of this lake. You are the bridge between worlds." As the night grew quiet, Tom felt a calm he had not known in months. The struggle had been hard, but respect had been restored. The lake was safe. The families were learning, and though Mara still carried anger, her power had faded. The water rippled gently, reflecting the stars. Tom knew the work was not finished, but for the first time, he felt hope. The lake was not just his private land anymore. It had become a shared treasure, bound by respect, trust, and the promise of protection. And Tom was ready to guard it, always.